There are moments in life when you look back and think, if only someone had told me this sooner. Not because you're weak, not because you're not trying, but because no one sat you down and gave you the truth, not sugar-coated, not filtered, but the kind of truth that saves you years of confusion, pain, and wasted potential. And if you're young right now, if you're still trying to figure out who you are, what you want, and who you're becoming, let me tell you this, you're already ahead of the game just by listening to what I'm about to say. Because I'm not here to hype you up. I'm not here to tell you everything's going to be fine. I'm here to tell you what most people are too afraid, too comfortable, or too lost themselves to say. I wish someone told me this when I was your age, that the world doesn't owe you understanding, that not everyone will clap for you, that people will underestimate you, walk away from you, and sometimes even betray you, not because of who you are, but because of what they couldn't handle inside themselves. And here's the kicker, that has nothing to do with your worth. I wish someone had grabbed me by the shoulders and said, look, life is going to test you hard. People are going to push your buttons. Your mind is going to play tricks on you. You're going to feel lost, unseen, maybe even unloved. But none of that is a reason to shrink. It's a reason to rise. No one told me that strength isn't just about muscle or grit. It's about mastering your mind, protecting your peace, and refusing to become bitter in a world that keeps giving you reasons to. No one told me that being liked is overrated and being respected is earned in silence. No one told me that the people who criticize your ambition are often the ones too afraid to chase their own. So if you're listening right now, I'm going to tell you what I wish someone told me. And if you truly take this in, not just with your ears, but with your life, you'll save yourself years of apology, regret, and playing small. Because the truth I'm about to give you, it might sting, it might challenge you, but it will wake you up. And that wake up,
it could change everything.
Let's begin. There's a moment in every person's life when their emotions get the better of them. Maybe it was a text that pushed you over the edge. Maybe it was a breakup, a betrayal, a failure, or even just one sentence that triggered something deep. And in that moment, rage, fear, shame, sadness took over. And you said something, or you did something, or you completely shut down. That one moment, it may have cost you your peace, your clarity, or even your direction. But here's the thing, no one really tells you when you're young, your emotions are not the enemy, but they will destroy you if you don't learn how to command them. No one teaches you this in school. They teach you math. They teach you history. They teach you how to follow rules and pass tests. But they don't teach you how to pause when your heart is pounding. They don't teach you how to sit with sadness without letting it consume your thoughts. They don't teach you how to feel without being ruled. And because no one teaches you, you grow up thinking that being angry, crying, or feeling anxious means you're broken, weak, out of control. But let me tell you the truth. Emotions are signals, not shackles. They're messages, not mandates. Emotions are like wild horses, strong, fast, and sometimes chaotic. But with training, they become powerful allies instead of unpredictable enemies. Mastering your emotions is not about suppressing them. It's not about faking calm when you're screaming inside. It's about understanding what they're telling you and then choosing the response that builds you, not breaks you. When you're young, everything feels bigger. The pain, the confusion, the highs and the lows. It feels like the world is either falling apart or on fire. And if you don't know how to ride those waves, you drown. So people try to numb themselves. They scroll, they ghost people, they distract themselves with dopamine, likes, attention, food, alcohol, whatever makes them forget. But it never really goes away. It just buries itself deeper, waiting to explode again. So here's what I wish someone told me. The most powerful people you'll ever meet aren't the loudest in the room. They're the ones who can sit with chaos and not be swallowed by it. They're the ones who know how to pause, how to respond instead of react, how to choose power over impulse. You can feel anger and not send the text. You can feel hurt and still speak with grace. You can feel afraid and still take the next step. You don't get stronger by avoiding hard emotions. You get stronger by sitting with them, facing them, and asking, what are you trying to tell me? Maybe the anger is pointing to a boundary that's being crossed. Maybe the sadness is highlighting something you need to let go of. Maybe the anxiety is your brain trying to protect you. but doing it in a way that keeps you small. When you decode your emotions, you stop being at war with yourself. You stop blowing up relationships because you couldn't take a breath. You stop sabotaging opportunities because you let fear drive the car. But let's be real, this isn't easy, especially when the people around you don't know how to manage their emotions either. Especially when the world tells you to just get over it, or don't be so sensitive, and especially when you've never seen someone model what emotional intelligence even looks like. So let me model it for you right now. You are allowed to feel everything you feel, but you are not allowed to let those feelings dictate the rest of your life. You are allowed to cry, but you are not allowed to drown in victimhood. You are allowed to be angry, but you are not allowed to become bitter and blame the world. You are allowed to feel fear, but you are not allowed to bow to it and never try. You can't lead your life with purpose if you're being led by every emotional spike. And that's what emotions are. They spike, they rise, and they fall. But your character, that's the constant. That's the part you build. And you build it through the choices you make when the emotion is screaming loudest. So when you get triggered, pause. When you feel insulted, breathe. When you want to lash out, don't. Because power isn't how loud you can yell, it's how calm you can stay under fire. One of the most important things you'll ever learn is that your emotional reactions either protect your future or poison it. Every time you speak with control when you want to explode, you earn respect. Every time you stay grounded when others are losing it, you earn influence. And every time you walk away from chaos instead of fueling it, you earn peace. Emotional mastery is the superpower that separates leaders from followers. It separates the healed from the reactive. It separates the ones who survive life from the ones who build it. So if you're young right now and you're feeling overwhelmed, emotional, exhausted, don't run from it. Don't shame yourself. Don't numb it. Learn from it. Learn to sit in the discomfort and not collapse. Learn to feel deeply but act intentionally. Learn to master your inner world so the outer world doesn't master you. Because when you command your emotions, you command your future. And there's nothing more powerful than a human being who feels everything but still chooses discipline over drama. There's a hard truth no one really tells you when you're growing up. Not everyone deserves access to you, your energy, your time, your heart, your attention. The world will try to convince you otherwise. It'll push this idea that being kind means being available, that being loving means being wide open, that being strong means never saying no. And if you believe that lie for too long, you'll start giving yourself away in pieces until you look around and wonder why you feel so drained, so used, so invisible. Let me make this crystal clear. Access to you is a privilege, not a right. Just because someone wants your time doesn't mean they've earned your presence. Just because someone says they care about you doesn't mean they have your best interests at heart. And just because someone's been in your life for years doesn't mean they're still aligned with who you're becoming. When you're young, you think loyalty means keeping everyone around. You confuse history with value. You keep people close out of guilt, out of fear, out of habit. But as you grow, as you heal, you realize something crucial. Not everyone is meant to walk with you on every stage of your journey. And that's not cold, that's not selfish, that's wise. There are people who will only love the version of you that doesn't grow, who only show up when they need something, who speak in sweet words but carry bitter intentions, who drain your spirit and call it being real. You need to start asking yourself, what does it cost me to keep them close? Because some relationships are expensive in ways that don't show up in your bank account, but in your peace, your energy, your self-worth. Your space is sacred. Your time is sacred. Your inner circle should be full of people who water you, not just take from your well. And if they can't handle your boundaries, they were never here for your wholeness. They were here for your compliance. They liked you better when you were quiet, available, and easy to use. But you're not here to be used. You're here to grow, to build, to thrive. And that means learning to close the door, even if it shakes. Protecting your energy doesn't mean cutting everyone off at the first mistake. It means discerning patterns. It means noticing when someone's presence consistently leaves you more confused than clear, more heavy than hopeful, more small than strong. And when that becomes the norm, not the exception. That's your cue. That's your signal to step back, not in anger, but in awareness, not to punish them, but to protect you. There are people who will gaslight you into thinking your boundaries are wrong. They'll call you too much, too guarded, too distant. But let me tell you something, people who are used to taking without giving will always be offended by someone who finally says enough, and saying enough is your birthright. You don't owe access to people who only show up when it's convenient. You don't owe vulnerability, people who use your wounds against you. You don't owe explanations to people committed to misunderstanding you. You owe yourself loyalty first, because when you prioritize everyone else and leave yourself behind, you teach the world that you are optional, that your energy doesn't matter, that you'll always say yes even when your soul is screaming no. But that ends now. From this point on, you become the gatekeeper of your life. You don't just let people in because they knock. You ask, are they aligned with my peace? Do they show respect, not just affection? Do they uplift me or drain me? Do they clap when I win or disappear when I rise? You'll find that the more you heal, the more selective you become. Not bitter, not angry, just clear on what you deserve, clear on what you bring to the table, clear on how rare your energy is and how much it costs to give it to someone who treats it like it's disposable. You're not for everyone, and everyone is not for you. Stop shrinking to fit in rooms where your spirit suffocates. Stop apologizing for needing space to grow. Stop explaining yourself to people who refuse to understand. This is your reminder, you are the prize, and when you treat yourself that way, others follow suit. So be kind, but also be firm, be compassionate, but also be wise. You can love people from a distance. You can forgive without reopening access. You can wish someone well and still walk away. Because not every goodbye is bitter. Some are necessary. From now on, guard your space, like your future depends on it. Because it does. The people closest to you influence your thinking, your energy, your identity. You don't rise in toxic soil. You don't bloom in unsafe gardens. Choose your surroundings, the way you choose your thoughts. Intentionally, deliberately, unapologetically. Not everyone deserves access to you. Not because you're better, but because you're finally beginning to understand your worth. There is a moment in every person's life when they look around and ask themselves, is it okay if I take up space now? Is it all right if I finally step into who I really am? And that moment, if you're not careful, becomes a habit, a pattern, a lifetime of asking for permission from people who were never qualified to grant it. Let me make this clear. You don't need permission to be powerful. You don't need someone's approval to pursue your dreams. You don't need a round of applause to start becoming the person you were always meant to be. And you sure as hell don't need anyone's validation to speak up, show up, or rise up. Power isn't something you wait to be given. It's something you claim, and you do it without apology. But the world doesn't teach you that. No. From the moment you're young, you're taught to wait. Wait for the right moment. Wait until you're older. Wait until you're more experienced. Wait until someone tells you you're ready. And while you're waiting, the world keeps turning. Other people less talented, less heart-driven, less committed start showing up in the spaces you were built for, simply because they weren't waiting for permission. The truth is, you've probably been conditioned to be polite instead of powerful, to be liked instead of respected, to be quiet instead of bold. And every time you shrink to keep others comfortable, you rob the world of the strength you were meant to bring. You were not put on this earth to play small. You were not born to tiptoe through life hoping not to offend. You were not here to tone yourself down so that other people don't feel threatened by your light. Power isn't arrogance. Power is ownership. It's knowing who you are without anyone needing to confirm it. It's standing firm when everyone around you wavers. It's walking into a room and not needing to dominate, just be, and that alone changes the atmosphere. When you own your power, you stop asking questions like, am I good enough? Do they approve of me? Will they accept me if I'm honest about who I am? You start asking, is this aligned with who I'm becoming? Is this a space that recognizes my worth? Do I want to invest my time, my energy, my soul here? Owning your power isn't about being loud. It's about being clear. It's about knowing what you bring to the table. Even when no one claps for you, it's about being willing to walk alone rather than shrink yourself to fit into places that never saw you to begin with. Too many people waste years, decades waiting for someone to tell them, yes, you're allowed to lead. Yes, you're allowed to speak. Yes, you're allowed to dream this big. But the people who thrive, the ones who really shift the world, don't ask for permission. They decide, they choose themselves over and over again. You want to write that book? Start today. You want to change careers? You don't need to convince anyone. You want to finally stop hiding your voice, your opinions, your dreams. You don't need their approval to live your truth. Because here's what no one tells you. Power is a choice, not a gift. And it's a choice you have to make daily. Some days it looks like saying no without guilt. Other days it's showing up to that room full of doubt and still holding your head high. Sometimes it's removing yourself from circles that keep you small. And sometimes it's simply being unapologetically yourself, even if that self is still in progress. You don't have to be perfect to be powerful. You just have to be real. The world doesn't change because of people who play it safe. It changes because of people who get tired of asking for permission to live fully. It changes because someone finally says, I'm not waiting anymore. If you want a life that excites you, challenges you, expands you, you have to stop asking for permission to go get it. Stop checking if others are okay with your fire. Stop seeking comfort in their acceptance. Because some people won't get it, and that's okay. They weren't meant to. Your power doesn't come from being understood. It comes from being undeniable. You were born powerful. It's just that life tried to make you forget. People, pain, and pressure made you question it. But deep down, you've always known it was there. That spark, that voice, that fire. Now is the time to stop dimming it. Stop diluting it. Stop waiting. You don't need permission. You are the permission. You are the fire starter. You are the decision maker. You are the leader of your own life. So walk like it, seek like it, live like it. Because the moment you stop seeking permission is the moment you start creating a life on your terms. And that life, that's where your real power begins. There comes a time in every person's life where they have to face a hard truth. Nobody's coming to save you. Not your friends, not your parents, not the system, not even luck. If you're waiting for someone to come along and hand you the life you've always dreamed of, you will wait forever. Because the truth is, the person you've been waiting for is. It's a harsh reality at first. It stings. Because it would be easier if someone came along and fixed everything. If someone carried the weight. If someone paved the way, took the hits, made the calls. But that's not how growth works. That's not how greatness is built. Greatness is built in the silence, when no one sees you grinding, when no one's cheering, when your name isn't in lights, and all you have is grit, self-respect, and a vision no one else can see. The sooner you understand that you are the builder of your own life, the sooner things start to change. No one is coming to give you confidence. No one is coming to teach you discipline. No one is coming to fix your mindset, your finances, your habits, your peace. That's your job. That's your responsibility. And the minute you take ownership of that, you take your power back. Yes, it would be easier if someone rescued you, if they saw your pain, your potential, and offered a shortcut. But the truth is, those shortcuts rob you of the strength you gain from the journey. They steal the lessons. They soften the edge that sharpens you. And maybe the reason no one came is because you were never supposed to be rescued. You were supposed to rise on your own 2 feet, with your own bruised hands, from your own broken ground. Building yourself means doing the work, even when it's not sexy. It means studying the habits that keep you stuck and replacing them, brick by brick, with ones that make you unshakable. It means owning your story, not hiding it, owning your failures, not running from them. It means looking in the mirror and saying, if no one claps for me, I'll clap for myself. If no one believes in me, I'll believe anyway. Nobody's coming to save you because you are not broken, you are not helpless, you are not too late, too far gone, or too unqualified. You are capable, you are resourceful. and everything you need is already inside you. It just hasn't been tested enough to reveal itself. This world will try to convince you that someone else knows better, that you should wait to be chosen, noticed, validated. But that's the trap. You don't need to be chosen. You need to choose yourself, over and over again. When it's hard, when it's dark, when it feels like nothing's working, especially then. Start where you are with what you have, and do what you can. It won't be perfect, but it will be progress. And progress, over time, compounds into transformation. Don't wait for the motivation. Build the habit. Don't wait for the right people. Be the right person. Don't wait for clarity. Create it through action. No one's coming to build the dream for you, but they will show up to benefit from it once you do. And that's okay, because by then you'll be the kind of person who no longer needs to be rescued. You'll be the one lighting the way for others. But first, you have to walk through the dark yourself. You have to be the hero you were looking for. Understand this. You don't build yourself overnight. You build yourself in the daily decisions, in the moment you wake up and choose discipline over comfort, in the moment you speak the truth, even when your voice shakes, in the moment you forgive, let go, and move forward. That's what building looks like. And the person who keeps showing up, keeps swinging the hammer, that's the person who becomes unstoppable. You are responsible for your life. That's not a burden, that's a gift. Because once you accept it, you realize that no one gets to limit you. Not your past, not your pain, not your surroundings. You get to rewrite the narrative. You get to build the structure of the life you want to live. Stronger, wiser, real. So no, nobody's coming to save you. And that's not the bad news. That's the moment you wake up. That's the moment you realize you don't need to be saved. You just need to step up. You are the answer. You are the plan. You are the foundation. Build yourself like your life depends on it, because it does. Think about where you are right now in your life, mentally, emotionally, physically, financially. Every part of it, the good and the bad, is a reflection of what you've allowed, accepted, or expected. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your standards. And the truth most people avoid is this: your future will not be defined by your dreams, but by your standards. It's not enough to want success. Everyone wants success. Everyone wants happiness, peace, health, and purpose. But not everyone has the standards that demand it from themselves daily. Your standards are the invisible lines you draw in the sand. The line that says, this is what I tolerate, this is what I don't, this is who I choose to be. And those lines, they either keep you stuck or pull you forward. Standards are personal, they're private. No one sees them but you. That's why they matter so much. It's easy to fake effort on the outside, but your standards are revealed in your routines, your decisions, your boundaries, and your resilience when things get hard. They show up in how you speak to yourself when no one's listening. They show up in how you react to disappointment, to temptation, to pressure. If you live by the standard of just getting by, guess what your future looks like? One long stretch of average. If your standard is comfort, your future will shrink. If your standard is approval from others, your life will bend and break to meet someone else's expectations. But when you raise your standards, everything changes, not overnight, but inevitably. A higher standard says, I don't hit snooze because I said I would get up. A higher standard says I keep my word, even if it's only to myself. A higher standard says I don't tolerate disrespect from others or from my own inner dialogue. A higher standard says I finish what I start, I show up ready, I lead myself first. Raising your standards isn't about being perfect. It's about refusing to settle for a version of yourself that you've outgrown. It's about being bold enough to say, I deserve more, because I give more, not because the world owes it to you, but because you owe it to yourself to not live on autopilot, to not keep watering down your potential. Every standard you hold becomes a seed, and like any seed, what you water grows. Water laziness, and you grow regret. Water excuses, and you grow stagnation. But if you water courage, discipline, self-respect, then you grow a life that looks and feels like freedom. And let's be clear, people around you might not like it when you raise your standards, because your standards reflect something about theirs. When you start eating better, some people will call you obsessed. When you start speaking up for yourself, they'll call you too much. When you walk away from chaos, They'll say you're selfish. Let them talk. High standards aren't for everyone. That's why they lead to uncommon outcomes. That's why most people stay stuck in patterns they hate, jobs they loathe, relationships that drain them, because leaving requires new standards, and new standards require discomfort. You want a better future. You want peace that's real and not just performative. Raise your standard for the people you allow in your life. Raise your standard for how you speak about yourself. Raise your standard for how you deal with setbacks, because your future isn't created by chance. It's created by choice. And your standards are the choices you repeat every single day. You don't have to change everything at once. You just need to get honest. Where in your life have you lowered the bar so far that now you're unrecognizable to yourself? Where have you tolerated less love, less truth, less discipline? Because raising the bar felt too hard. You get to set the tone, you get to raise the bar, you get to say, that version of me, the one that settled, the one that made excuses, the one that doubted everything, I'm done with her. She served a purpose, but I'm not bringing her into my future, because that future you want, it's waiting, but it's not going to meet the version of you who still makes room for half effort, for chaos, for playing small. It's waiting for the you that refuses to shrink, the you that doesn't flinch when people misunderstand, the you that shows up anyway. This world will offer you plenty of reasons to lower your standards: fear, comfort, pressure, doubt. But it's your job to hold the line. Because when you hold the line long enough, the world starts to meet you at that level. Opportunities start showing up. People respect you differently. And most importantly, you respect yourself differently. And that is when everything shifts. When you stop hoping and start expecting, when you stop begging and start building, when you stop surviving and start leading, your future is not a mystery. It's a mirror. It reflects the standard you set today. So if you want to change your future, raise your standards now, not tomorrow, not next week, not when things calm down. Right now, draw the line, raise the bar, and become the kind of person your future will thank you for. Not because it's easy, but because it's time. Let me leave you with this. You don't get the life you want. You get the life you demand of yourself. Everything you've heard, everything you've felt in this message boils down to one truth. Your life is your responsibility, not your parents', not your friends', not society's, yours. If you keep waiting for permission, you'll never move. If you keep tolerating less, you'll never rise. If you keep treating your mind, your time, your energy like it's expendable, you'll keep living a life that feels like a quiet compromise. But if you decide not tomorrow, not someday, today, that enough is enough, everything changes. Raise your standards. Protect your peace. Trust your intuition. Cut the noise. Don't lower your energy to meet people. Train your mind to elevate your entire life. No one's coming to rewrite your story for you, but you can pick up the pen right now. Choose to be relentless. Choose to be self-led. Choose to be unshakable. And when the world tries to make you small, when the pain gets heavy, when doubt knocks on your door, you look it in the face and remind it, I was built for this. Now go build a life that reflects it.